Mom, when will Dad come back for Lumi's birthday? 3-year-old Lumi, dressed in a pink princess dress, blinked her big eyes, just like Andre's, and asked me in her baby voice. I glanced at my phone, 8:30 p.m. Today was Lumi's 3rd birthday. I'd been preparing since morning, baking her favorite rainbow cake by hand, filling the house with pink balloons, even crafting a little crown birthday hat. Daddy's busy with work. How about Lumi celebrates her birthday with Mommy first? I crouched down, gently stroking my daughter's little cheek, trying to make my voice sound lighthearted. But Lumi pouted. But Lumi wants Daddy to come back. Lumi wants Daddy to set off fireworks for Lumi. Fireworks. My heart sank. Last year, on Lumi's 2nd birthday, Andre did set off fireworks for her. Lumi was overjoyed, dancing and clapping her hands. Ever since, she's been talking about seeing fireworks again this year. I picked up my phone and called Andre for the 13th time. Still turned off. Ding dong, the doorbell rang. I thought Andre was back, and Lumi raced excitedly to the door. Daddy's home. Daddy's home. But when I opened the door, I saw the last person I wanted to see, Kathy. She wore a white gown, clutching a large bouquet of red roses, her face adorned with that familiar gentle smile. Daisy, where's Andre? Kathy walked right past me into the living room. Lumi hid behind me and whispered, Mommy, who's that lady? Kathy heard and crouched down to touch Lumi's head. Lumi, right? Auntie is your dad's good friend. I stopped her hand. Kathy, today is Lumi's birthday. What are you doing here? Kathy stood up, her smile still gentle. I know. That's why I came to find Andre. I want him to go with me to the hospital for a checkup. Checkup? I'm pregnant. Kathy gently stroked her flat belly, her eyes sparkling with happiness. 6 weeks along. Andre's child. I felt as if struck by lightning, my mind buzzing. Pregnant? Andre's child? Mom, what's wrong? Lumi tugged at my skirt, her little face filled with worry. I forced myself to calm down and looked at Kathy. What are you talking about? Daisy, you should know this, Andre has always loved me. Kathy's voice was soft, but each word pierced my heart like needles. 3 years ago, I left the country because my family opposed our relationship. Now that I'm back, it's time for things to settle once and for all. I clenched my fists so tightly my nails dug into my flesh. Where's Andre? He's waiting for me downstairs, Kathy chuckled. He's accompanying me to my prenatal checkup tonight, and then we'll watch the fireworks from the hospital rooftop. You know, it holds so many memories for us. Fireworks. She actually said fireworks. Today is my daughter's birthday, and Andre promised to set off fireworks for Lumi. I rushed to the balcony and looked down. Andre's black Maybach was parked downstairs. Dressed in a crisp suit, he leaned against the car making a call, his expression so tender I'd never seen before. Andre, I've been waiting for you forever, Kathy cooed sweetly into the phone. I watched Andre hang up the phone, a doting smile spreading across his face. That smile, I'd never seen it in our 3 years of marriage. Mom. Mom. There's fireworks in the sky. Lumi clapped her hands excitedly, pointing out the window. I looked up and saw dazzling fireworks bursting across the night sky. One after another, they shone brilliantly. But those fireworks weren't for my daughter. Kathy beamed with pride. Andre is so romantic, he said he wanted to give our baby a sense of ceremony. My tears finally couldn't hold back any longer. Today is Lumi's 3rd birthday. She waited all day just to have her dad come home and set off fireworks for her. But that man was downstairs setting off fireworks for another woman and the child in her womb. Mom, are you crying? Lumi stood on tiptoes and wiped my tears with her little hands. Don't cry, Mom. Shall I sing you a birthday song? At that moment, my heart completely shattered. My daughter is so sensible and adorable, yet her father spent her birthday watching fireworks with another woman. Kathy, you can leave now, I said coldly. Kathy smoothed her hair. Daisy, I'm actually quite grateful to you. These past 3 years, you've taken care of Andre for me and even given him a daughter. But now, it's time for me to come back. She walked to the door and glanced back at me. Oh, right, Andre's already drafting the divorce papers. He said he'll give you enough money to support you and Lumi. But Lumi? What about Lumi? Lumi is Andre's child. Kathy smiled gently, but her words were venomous, and I'm carrying Andre's child too. Lumi will have a little brother or sister to keep her company, she'll be so happy. I trembled all over. You want to steal my daughter? It's not stealing, it's returning something to its rightful owner. Kathy said casually, after all, I am Mrs. Andre. No sooner had she spoken than familiar footsteps sounded outside the door. Andre was back. The door swung open, and Andre walked in. He remained as cold as ever, not even glancing at Lumi or me as he walked straight toward Kathy. Why did you come up? Didn't you say you'd wait for me downstairs? His voice was so gentle it could have melted ice. Kathy said in a sweet, pleading tone, I just want to come up and see Lumi. After all, we'll be living together from now on. Lumi, come over and call her Aunt Kathy. Andre finally turned his gaze to his daughter, his voice carrying an authority that brooked no refusal. Lumi timidly hid behind me and whispered, Daddy, today is Lumi's birthday. Did you forget? Andre froze, furrowing his brow. Birthday? Yes, Lumi's 3rd birthday, I said coldly. You promised to set off fireworks for her. A flicker of embarrassment crossed Andre's face, but it was quickly replaced by impatience. The fireworks are over. Lumi must have seen them. They were for me, Kathy declared triumphantly, linking her arm through Andre's. To celebrate my pregnancy. Andre gazed fondly at Kathy, yes, it's for our child. Lumi blinked her big eyes in confusion and asked, Daddy, what is pregnancy? Why does Aunt Kathy have Daddy's baby too? The living room fell into an eerie silence. Andre's expression darkened, while Kathy let out a soft chuckle. I crouched down and gathered my daughter into my arms. Lumi, would you please wait for Mommy in your room? Mommy and Daddy need to talk. Lumi nodded obediently, but halfway there she ran back, picked up a small box from the coffee table, and handed it to Andre. Daddy, this is Lumi's birthday present for you. Even though it's not Daddy's birthday, Lumi wants to give it to Daddy. Andre mechanically took the box and opened it to find a small star folded from colored paper and a childish drawing inside. The drawing depicted 3 people holding hands, with a few words scrawled crookedly beside it, Dad, Mom, and Lumi will always be together. In that instant, I saw something flash in Andre's eyes before he quickly composed himself. Lumi's such a good girl, he said mechanically, then casually placed the box on the coffee table. Lumi shot her dad a disappointed look before running into her room. Andre, we should go. Kathy urged, the hospital is waiting. Andre nodded, then looked at me. Daisy, I'll have my lawyer contact you tomorrow to get the paperwork done as soon as possible. Paperwork? What paperwork? Divorce proceedings. Andre spoke calmly, as if discussing the weather. I'll provide you with sufficient funds to ensure Lumi and your livelihood. But custody of Lumi? I won't give up custody, I cut him off. Lumi is my child, raised by me. She belongs solely to me. Andre frowned. Daisy, stop this. Lumi should be with me. With you? I sneered. With a father who forgets his own daughter's birthday? With a scumbag who sets off fireworks for another woman on his daughter's birthday? What did you say? Andre's face darkened instantly. I said you're a scumbag. I completely lost it. Andre, Lumi waited for you all day. She wore her little dress and crown, just wanting Daddy to come home for her birthday. And what did you do? You were downstairs setting off fireworks for your white moonlight. Enough. Andre snapped. Daisy, watch your language. Watch what? Watch that I'm your nominal wife and should give you face? I advanced step by step. Andre, starting today, I am no longer your wife. I walked over to the coffee table and picked up the small box he'd carelessly tossed aside. This is a gift your daughter made for you with her own hands, and you just threw it away. How can you call yourself a father? Andre looked at the box in my hand, his eyes darting away. Kathy saw this and immediately stepped forward to take Andre's arm. Andre, let's go. I'm feeling a bit queasy. Go? I sneered. Andre, do you know what day today is? I know it's Lumi's birthday. Andre said impatiently, but Kathy's pregnant, and I have to be with her. What about Lumi? She's your child too. She's still young and doesn't understand. I'll make it up to her later. Andre said matter-of-factly. I'm utterly hopeless. In this man's heart, Lumi and I will never be as important as Kathy. Even though Kathy is only 6 weeks pregnant, even though today is Lumi's birthday, he still chooses Kathy. Alright, I understand. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to calm down. Andre, we're getting a divorce. That's the right decision, Kathy said with a triumphant smile. It's better this way, no one has to suffer. Andre nodded. The lawyer will contact you tomorrow. I won't shortchange you on the assets. I don't want your money. I said coldly, but Lumi, I absolutely won't give her up. Daisy, don't be so ungrateful. Kathy's expression hardened. Lumi will have a complete family with us, brothers and sisters to keep her company. This is for her own good. Follow you? I scoffed coldly. Follow a father who forgets his own birthday and a mistress who steals other people's husbands? Kathy, do you really think that's a complete family? Who are you calling a mistress? Kathy's face darkened. Of course it's you. I didn't back down. 3 years ago when you went abroad, Andre was already married to me. Now you come back pregnant with his child, what else are you but the other woman? Kathy's face darkened, but she quickly regained her smile. Daisy, you've got it backwards. Andre and I are the real deal, you're just a stand-in. Now that the real thing is back, it's time for you to step aside. Enough. Andre said impatiently, let's go. He pulled Kathy toward the door, glancing back at me as they reached the entrance. Daisy, there's no room for discussion. Lumi is Andre's child and must come with me. Then we'll see each other in court. I said coldly. Andre's footsteps faltered for a moment, but he walked away without looking back. The instant the door closed, I could no longer hold myself up and collapsed onto the sofa. Tears fell in big, heavy drops. 3 years, 3 whole years. I thought my patience and devotion would earn his love, even just a little. But now I finally understand, in Andre's heart, Lumi and I will always be superfluous. The only one he loves is Kathy. From the very beginning, it's always been Kathy. Mom, did you cry? Lumi had come out of her room without me noticing, tiptoeing over to wipe my tears. Mommy didn't cry, I said with a forced smile. Just got sand in my eyes. Lumi tilted her little head. But there's no sand in the house. I held my daughter close, clutching her tightly as if to merge her into my very blood. Lumi, if one day Mommy takes you away from here, would you be willing? Lumi blinked her big eyes. Where to? Let's go somewhere just the two of us, without Dad or Aunt Kathy. Lumi thought for a moment and said earnestly, if it makes Mom happy, Lumi is willing. Why? Because Mom is happiest when she's with Lumi, but whenever Dad comes home, Mom always seems unhappy. Lumi touched my face with her little hand and said, Lumi doesn't want Mom to be unhappy. Tears welled up in my eyes again. My daughter, only 3 years old, is already so understanding. Yet her father can even forget her birthday. Holding Lumi close, I silently vowed to myself, no matter what, I will never let anyone take my daughter away. Early the next morning, I received a call from Andre's lawyer. Daisy, this is Jim, Andre's attorney. Regarding the divorce agreement, Andre would like to move forward with it as soon as possible. I understand. I'll be contacting my own lawyer, I replied coldly. Andre said he wouldn't shortchange me financially, but custody of the children. I won't give up custody of the children. I cut him off. Tell Andre there's no negotiating on this. After hanging up, I immediately contacted my college friend Jenny. Jenny is a partner at a law firm specializing in divorce cases and is quite renowned in the industry. Daisy? What made you call me? Jenny's voice sounded surprised. Jenny, I'm getting a divorce from Andre, I stated bluntly. There was a few seconds of silence on the other end of the line. What happened? He cheated on me. The other woman is pregnant. I tried to keep my voice steady. I'm going to fight for custody of Lumi. That bastard. Jenny exclaimed angrily. Fine, I'll take this case. Daisy, rest assured, I'll make sure he leaves with nothing. I don't want his money. I only want Lumi. Lumi you'll definitely get custody of, but you must fight for the assets too. He was the one who cheated first, legally speaking. Jenny, I have more pressing matters to attend to, I cut her off. Andre is trying to wrest custody of Lumi away from me. I need to prepare. After hanging up the phone, I began compiling evidence from the past 3 years. Andre frequently stayed away from home, showed no concern for Lumi, never attended parent-teacher conferences, and even forgot Lumi's birthday. I documented all these incidents in detail, preparing to present them in court. Just then, the doorbell rang again. Thinking it was the delivery person, I opened the door to find a stranger standing there. She appeared to be in her 40s, dressed in an expensive suit, and radiated an air of sophistication. Who might you be? I'm Andre's mother, Flora. The woman said coldly, we need to talk. In 3 years of marriage, she'd never once looked at me properly, let alone approached me first. Her sudden visit today must be about divorce. Come in, I said, stepping aside. Flora entered the living room, surveyed the space with disdain, and sneered, this is the environment you call suitable for raising my child? My heart sank. You're here about Lumi? Of course. Flora sat down on the sofa, looking down at me from above. Lumi is part of our family bloodline, she must come back home. Lumi gets along well with me. With you? Flora sneered. You're an unemployed woman, how do you plan to support her? I'll find a job. Find a job? Flora scoffed. You think raising a child is that simple? Education costs, living expenses, medical bills, does any of that come free? I fell silent. To be honest, that was precisely my greatest concern. For the past 3 years, I've been staying home to care for Lumi without a job or income. Although Andre provides me with living expenses, that money only covers daily necessities. If we were to divorce, I would indeed find it very difficult to raise Lumi on my own. Flora sensed my worry and softened her tone. Daisy, I know you love Lumi. But loving her means thinking of her best interests. With us, she'll receive the finest education and live the best life possible. But with you? What's wrong with following me? Following you, she'll only live an ordinary life. Flora put it bluntly, as a mother, can you really bear to watch her struggle for a meager salary in the future? My heart gave a sharp jolt. Flora continued, and Kathy is already pregnant, Lumi will soon have a little brother or sister. A complete family is what's best for a child. A complete family? I scoffed coldly. A father who can forget his own daughter's birthday, a mistress who steals another woman's husband, you call that a complete family? Flora's expression darkened. Watch your words. Kathy is the daughter-in-law I've chosen. You're the outsider. I'm Lumi's mother. So what if you're the biological mother? Legally, a father's rights are equal to a mother's, Flora said coldly. Besides, Andre has a stable income, a complete family, and me as a grandmother. What do you have? I was left speechless. Indeed, in terms of financial circumstances and family stability, I couldn't hold a candle to Andre. I'm giving you 2 options. Flora stood up. First, voluntarily relinquish custody, and I'll give you $5 million. You can start your life anew. Second, go to court. If you lose, you'll get nothing and will have to cover the legal fees. I chose the third option. I looked up at her. I'll fight you to the bitter end. Flora's face darkened. Daisy, don't bite the hand that feeds you. Then let me taste the consequences. I didn't back down. Flora gave me a long, hard look before turning away. As she reached the doorway, she glanced back and said, "You'll regret this." After the door closed, I slumped down onto the sofa. To say I wasn't afraid would be a lie. They had money and influence, what did I have to fight them with? But I couldn't back down. Lumi is my daughter. I carried her for 10 months and gave birth to her. I raised her with my own hands. No matter what, I will never let her be taken away. Over the next few days, Andre's side made frequent moves. First, someone began investigating my background. Then, reporters sought to interview me. There were even attempts to bribe my neighbors to testify that I was unfit to raise children. I knew this was pressure being put on me. But I didn't back down. Jenny helped me land a job as an assistant at a law firm. While the pay wasn't great, at least it proved I could support myself and Lumi. Daisy, I've thoroughly reviewed your case. Jenny walked in holding a document. Although Andre is financially well off, he was the one who cheated first, and he's genuinely neglectful toward the children. We have a strong case. Really? I asked excitedly. Really? Jenny nodded. But I need more evidence from you. Like proof of Andre's infidelity, evidence of him neglecting the children, and so on. I have all that. I handed her the prepared materials. Jenny flipped through the documents, her expression growing increasingly grave. Daisy, this Kathy has a complicated background. What do you mean? She's the daughter of the chairman of Sue Group, which is a key business partner of Shin Group. Jenny frowned. This isn't just a simple affair, it's a business alliance. My heart sank. If it was a business marriage, then Andre would be even less likely to give up Kathy. So that means I don't stand a chance? No, you still have a chance. Jenny said earnestly, child custody and a business partnership are two separate matters. As long as we can prove Andre is unfit to raise the child, the judge will still rule in your favor. Just then, my phone rang. It was Andre calling. Daisy, let's meet up. His voice was cold. Nothing to talk about. It's about Lumi. I hesitated. Fine, where? The usual spot. The usual spot was the cafe where we had our first date. Who would have thought we'd start there, only to end there too? An hour later, I arrived at the cafe. Andre was already waiting for me. He still had that aloof demeanor, dressed in a crisp suit, sitting in the corner booth. I walked over and sat down, getting straight to the point. What do you want to talk about? Waiving custody. Andre cut straight to the point. I can give you 10 million. I told you, I don't want your money. Then what do you want? Andre frowned. Daisy, don't be ungrateful. I want my daughter. I stood my ground. Andre sneered, what makes you think you can raise her? Do you have a job? A place to live? The means to give her the best education? I have a mother's love. I met his gaze. That's something you can't give her. Motherly love? Andre scoffed. Can motherly love put food on the table? Can it get her into the best schools? Can it give her a life of wealth? At least it can make her feel loved, I countered. Instead of this, where even her own father doesn't know her birthday. Andre's expression changed. I just forgot in the rush. Forgot in the rush? I sneered. But you remembered Kathy was 6 weeks pregnant, remembered to set off fireworks for her. Andre, what does Lumi even mean to you? Andre fell silent. I continued, Lumi is 3 years old. The time you've spent with her probably doesn't even add up to a month. Do you know what she loves most? Do you know what she fears? Do you know what her dreams are? Andre opened his mouth but couldn't speak. You don't know because you never cared about her. My voice grew colder. You only wanted an heir, not someone you truly loved. How could I not love her? She's my daughter. Andre suddenly became agitated. Love her? I stood up. If you truly loved her, you wouldn't have set off fireworks for another woman on her birthday. If you truly loved her, you wouldn't try to steal her away from me. I turned to leave, but Andre suddenly grabbed my wrist. Daisy, let's talk this through. There's nothing to talk about. I shook off his hand. Andre, we'll see each other in court. Stepping out of the cafe, my tears finally broke free. I'd put on a tough front in front of him. But now that I was gone, I felt helpless like never before. Andre is right, I don't have the financial means to give Lumi the best life. But I have boundless love. I love Lumi more than my own life. As for Andre, he only loves Kathy. Back home, Lumi was drawing in the living room. She was still working on the same picture, Dad, Mom, and Lumi holding hands. Mommy, you're back. Lumi threw herself into my arms. What are you drawing, Lumi? I forced a smile. Lumi is drawing our home. Pointing to the picture, she says, but Lumi thinks this home isn't complete. Why? Because Daddy isn't home. Lumi tilts her little head. Mommy, can we have a complete home? My heart gave a sharp pang. How I wish I could tell her we could have a complete family. But reality is so cruel. Lumi, if Daddy isn't here and only Mommy is with you, would you be unhappy? Lumi thought for a moment and said earnestly, as long as Mommy is here, Lumi is happy. I held my daughter tightly, vowing silently, no matter what, I would never let her be taken away. Just then, the doorbell rang again. Thinking it was the delivery person, I opened the door to find Kathy standing there. She wore a pink dress and carried several large and small gift bags. Daisy, I'm here to see Lumi. Kathy smiled sweetly. What brings you here? I blocked the doorway. I'm Lumi's soon-to-be stepmom, of course I'd come see her, Kathy said matter-of-factly. Plus, I brought her lots of presents. I was about to refuse when Lumi came running out of the room. Aunt Kathy. Lumi's eyes lit up when she saw Kathy. You're here again. Kathy crouched down and gently stroked Lumi's head. Lumi, Auntie brought you lots of wonderful things. She opened the bag, revealing various designer dolls, toys, and pretty little dresses inside. Lumi was dazzled by the sight, jumping up and down with excitement. Thank you, Aunt Kathy. Lumi said sweetly. Kathy shot me a triumphant glance before turning to Lumi. Lumi, Auntie has some more good news for you. What good news? Auntie has a little baby in her tummy, it'll be Lumi's little brother or sister someday. Kathy gently stroked her belly. Lumi jumped up excitedly, really? Lumi's going to be a big sister? Yes, Lumi is going to be a big sister. Kathy smiled gently, once the baby arrives, Lumi will live with Mommy, Daddy, and the little one. Isn't that exciting? Lumi nodded vigorously, exciting. My heart sank. Kathy's move was ruthless. She used family ties to manipulate Lumi, tempting her with the promise of future siblings. But Lumi was too young to understand what that truly meant. Kathy spent the entire afternoon at our house. She played games with Lumi, told her stories, and even taught her how to draw. Lumi was completely charmed by her, calling her Aunt Kathy with such sweetness. Standing by, my heart ached. I knew exactly what Kathy was doing. She was winning over my daughter. Lumi, Auntie has to go now, Kathy said as she got up to leave. How about I come see you again in a few days? Okay? Oh no. Lumi clung to Kathy's hand reluctantly. Aunt Kathy, can't you stay? Auntie has things to take care of, Kathy said gently. But I promise you, I'll come visit often to play with Lumi. After seeing Kathy off, Lumi ran excitedly to me, Mommy, Aunt Kathy is so nice. She bought Lumi so many presents. Lumi. I crouched down, looking at my daughter earnestly. Mommy wants to ask you a question. What question? If one day you could only choose to be with Mom or Dad and Aunt Kathy, who would you pick? Lumi blinked her big eyes in confusion and asked, why can't we all be together? Because. I don't know how to explain it. If you could only choose one, who would you pick? Lumi thought for a long time before finally saying, Lumi wants Mommy. Tears instantly welled up in my eyes. But Lumi also wants Daddy and Aunt Kathy, Lumi said innocently, and the little baby. My heart sank once more. Kathy's strategy had worked. She had already planted the seed in Lumi's mind. That night, after Lumi fell asleep, I received a call from Jenny. Daisy, I have some bad news. Jenny's voice was heavy with gravity. What? Andre has applied for temporary custody. What does that mean? It means Lumi might have to live with Andre until the final court decision. Jenny explained, their reasoning is that you don't have a stable income and can't guarantee the child's quality of life. I was stunned. Can they do that? Legally, yes, Jenny said helplessly. And they found some evidence against you. What evidence? Someone testified that you often left Lumi home alone while you went to work. That's because I have to earn money to support her. I snapped angrily. I know, but in the judge's eyes, this constitutes neglect, Jenny sighed. Daisy, things aren't looking good. After hanging up, I slumped onto the sofa. Andre really was going to take Lumi away from me. I couldn't let this happen. Early the next morning, I took Lumi and left that home. I couldn't just sit back and do nothing. I had to escape with Lumi, to a place Andre couldn't find us. Mommy, where are we going? Lumi asked curiously from the back seat. Let's go somewhere far away. I said as I drove. Why go somewhere far away? Because Mommy wants to live just the two of us with Lumi. Lumi nodded, seeming to understand yet not quite. We drove for 3 hours and arrived at a small town. This is where my grandmother used to live, a remote, quiet place. I rented a small house in town, planning to live here with Lumi. But before I could settle in, Andre showed up. Daisy. Have you lost your mind? Andre stormed into the house, his face ashen. You actually kidnapped the child and ran away? I shielded Lumi. I didn't kidnap her, I'm her mother. You're her mother, but you're not her sole guardian. Andre snapped furiously. What you did is illegal. Breaking the law? I sneered. What about your affair? Abandoning your wife and daughter? Isn't that illegal? Enough. Andre snapped impatiently. Lumi, come on. Come home with Daddy. Lumi hid fearfully behind me, whispering, Daddy, why are you being so mean? Andre paused, his tone softening slightly. Lumi, sweetie, come home with Daddy. There are lots of fun things at home, and Aunt Kathy bought you a present. I don't want to, Lumi shook her head. I want to stay with Mommy. Andre's expression darkened as he stepped forward to grab Lumi. I shielded my daughter fiercely, don't you dare touch her. She's my daughter. Andre gritted his teeth. She's my daughter too. I stood my ground. Just as we locked horns, sirens wailed outside. Andre had called the police. Several police officers entered the room. One of them addressed me, Ma'am, you are suspected of child abduction. Please cooperate with our investigation. I didn't abduct her. I exclaimed, she's my daughter. We understand, but taking the child away without informing the father is not permitted under the law. The police explained. I felt utterly hopeless. Even the law was on Andre's side. Mom, what's wrong? Seeing me cry, Lumi started crying too. It's okay, Lumi, don't cry. I held back my tears and comforted her. Andre came over, trying to pick up Lumi. Lumi clung tightly to me, no. I want to stay with Mommy. Lumi, be good. Andre said patiently, come home with Daddy. Mommy will come see you in a few days. I don't want to. Lumi cried even harder, Mommy. Mommy. Seeing my daughter's heart-wrenching sobs, my heart was breaking. Andre. I looked up at him. Are you really going to do this to her? She's only 3. Andre hesitated, but spoke firmly. She needs a stable living environment. Would she be unstable with me? You don't even have a place to live, how can you give her a stable life? Andre said coldly. I was speechless. It was true, I had nothing. No home, no money, no steady job. What did I have to compete with Andre? The officer seemed reluctant, but still said, "Ma'am, please cooperate." I knew I had no choice. I crouched down and held Lumi, who was sobbing so hard she could barely breathe. Lumi, Mommy can't stay with you for now. Why? Lumi asked through her tears. Because Mom has to take care of some things. I tried to keep my voice steady. But Mom promises she'll come pick you up soon. Really? Really? I kissed her forehead. Lumi, be a good girl and listen to them, okay? Lumi nodded vigorously, but tears still streamed down her face. Andre stepped forward and picked her up, but Lumi struggled fiercely in his arms. Mommy. Mommy. I want Mommy. That heart-wrenching cry cut through me like a knife. I watched helplessly as Andre carried my daughter away. In that moment, I felt like the most inadequate mother in the world. After Lumi was taken, I completely broke down. I locked myself in that little house, refusing to eat or drink, existing like a walking corpse. Jenny called me countless times, but I never picked up. Not until the 3rd day did she storm right into town. Daisy. How could you do this? Jenny was heartbroken seeing my state. How are you going to fight for custody of Lumi looking like this? It's useless. My voice cracked. I have nothing. What can I possibly fight them with? You have a mother's love. You have rights. Jenny grabbed my hand. Daisy, you can't give up. But Lumi's with them now, maybe she's already starting to get used to it. Maybe it really is better for her to stay with them, I said painfully. What nonsense are you talking? Jenny snapped. You're the one Lumi loves most. What she needs is your love, not money. But can love put food on the table? I chuckled bitterly. Andre's right, I don't even have a home. Homes can be bought, money can be earned, but the bond between mother and daughter, that's something no amount of money can buy, Jenny said earnestly. Daisy, pull yourself together. For Lumi's sake, and for your own. I remained silent for a long time before finally nodding. Jenny was right, I couldn't give up. As Lumi's mother, I had a duty to protect her. After returning to the city, I began actively preparing for the court hearing. I gathered more evidence proving Andre's neglect toward Lumi. I also found several witnesses to attest that I am a competent mother. At the same time, I began working diligently to prove my ability to raise Lumi. However, Andre wasn't sitting idle either. He uncovered more incriminating evidence against me and even bribed some people to give false testimony. Worst of all, after spending a week at Andre's house, Lumi seemed to have genuinely adjusted to life there. According to my friend's account, Lumi has a dedicated nanny who cares for her daily, private tutors who guide her studies, and Kathy who plays with her. It seems she no longer cries for her mother. This news was undoubtedly a devastating blow to me. Daisy, you can't think like that. Jenny comforted me. Lumi is just adjusting to her new surroundings for now, but she's still thinking of you. Really? I asked uncertainly. Of course, Jenny said firmly. A mother and daughter share a bond, that kind of love never changes. Just the day before the court hearing, I received unexpected news. Kathy had miscarried. The news came from the nanny at Andre's house. It said Kathy fell down the stairs and lost the baby. Andre flew into a rage over it, even suspecting someone deliberately harmed Kathy. Hearing this news, I felt quite conflicted. On one hand, I sympathized with Kathy for losing her child. But on the other hand, I also felt it was karma. She stole my husband and destroyed my family, and now she's finally gotten her comeuppance. On the day of the hearing, I dressed up meticulously. I wore my most presentable suit, applied light makeup, and tried my best to look like a competent mother. In court, the lawyers for both sides engaged in a fierce verbal battle. Andre's lawyer repeatedly emphasized his financial standing and social status, stressing that Lumi would receive a better education under his care. Jenny, however, emphasized the importance of maternal love, stressing my devoted care for Lumi. "Your Honor, what a child needs most is not money, but love," Jenny declared passionately. For 3 years, Daisy has cared for her daughter with unwavering devotion. The bond between them is something no amount of money could ever buy. However, emotions cannot resolve practical issues. Andre's lawyer countered, "The child needs a stable living environment and access to quality educational resources. Andre can provide these, but Daisy cannot." After a lengthy debate, the judge finally stated that a ruling would be issued at a later date. Stepping out of the courtroom, I felt utterly drained, both physically and mentally. I had no idea what the outcome would be, but I had given it my all. Just then, I spotted Lumi. She was wearing a pretty little dress, hand in hand with Andre, emerging from another exit of the courthouse. "Lumi!" I couldn't help but call out. Hearing my voice, Lumi immediately turned her head. The moment she saw me, her eyes lit up. She broke free from Andre's grasp and ran toward me. "Mommy! Mommy!" Lumi threw herself into my arms and hugged me tightly. "Lumi!" I was so moved I started crying. "Mommy misses you so much." "Mommy, Lumi misses you too." Lumi cried in my arms. "Lumi misses Mommy every single day." Andre walked over, looking a bit displeased. "Lumi, it's time. We have to go home now." "I don't want to." Lumi clung to me, refusing to let go. "I want to go home with Mommy." "Lumi, be good." Andre's voice was firm. "Come home with Daddy. There are lots of fun things at home." "I don't want to." Lumi cried even harder. "I want Mommy. I want to be with Mommy." Hearing my daughter's heart-wrenching cries, my heart was breaking. "Andre, did you see that?" I looked up at him. "What she needs most is me, not your money." Andre's expression shifted, but he insisted, "She's just reacting emotionally. She'll get used to it." "Habit?" I sneered. "You want her to get used to life without a mother?" Andre fell silent. Finally, Kathy stepped in to break the awkwardness. "Lumi, sweetie, come home with Auntie, okay?" Kathy said gently. "Auntie bought you a new doll." Lumi looked at Kathy, then at me, but still refused to let go. "I want Mommy," Lumi declared firmly. In that moment, I saw hope. My daughter still loved me, she needed me. No matter the outcome, I wouldn't give up. A week later, the court's ruling came down. I lost the case. Custody of Lumi was awarded to Andre. The reason given was that my financial circumstances were insufficient to provide the child with a good living environment. Although I have visitation rights, I can only see Lumi twice a month, for no more than 4 hours each time. Hearing the verdict, I broke down right then and there. "This isn't fair," I shouted in the courtroom. "She's my daughter. She needs me." The bailiff stepped in to restrain me, and Jenny pulled me back, urging me to calm down. But how could I possibly calm down? My daughter was snatched away, and the law actually sided with the abductor. As I walked out of the courtroom, I saw Andre being interviewed by reporters. "Andre, do you have any comments on today's verdict?" "I'm relieved," Andre said to the camera. "The court's ruling was fair. Lumi is with me now, able to receive a better education and have a brighter future. So what would you like to say to your ex-wife?" "I hope she understands this decision is best for Lumi." Andre looked righteous as he declared, "As a father, I have a duty to take responsibility for my child's future." Hearing those words, I trembled with rage. He spoke with such lofty pretensions, as if he were some kind of exemplary father. But what has he done for Lumi these past 3 years? How can someone who forgets her birthday even talk about responsibility? I rushed forward to confront him, but security stopped me. "Andre! You'll regret this," I shouted at him. "Lumi will never forgive you." Andre glanced at me, a flicker of complex emotion passing through his eyes before being swiftly replaced by cold indifference. He turned and walked away, leaving me standing alone at the courtroom door, like a madman. That night, I drank heavily by myself. I recall every day spent with Lumi, her sweet smile, her baby voice calling me mommy. Now, all of that has been taken away. I've lost my most precious daughter. The next day, I forced myself to go to work. I told myself life must go on. Although Lumi isn't with me, I still have visitation rights. I'll work hard and earn money. Once I have enough financial strength, I'll definitely get Lumi back. But reality is harsher than I imagined. A month later, it was time for my visitation. I arrived at Andre's place full of anticipation, carrying the gift I'd bought for Lumi. But the security guard stopped me. "I'm sorry, ma'am, Andre said today isn't convenient." "What do you mean, not convenient?" I demanded angrily. "I have visitation rights. This is a court order." Andre said Miss Lumi had a cold and wasn't well enough to see visitors. The security guard replied expressionlessly. "A cold?" I asked anxiously. "Is it serious? Does she need to go to the hospital?" "I wouldn't know about that," the guard waved his hand dismissively. "Please go back." I refused to give up and waited at the door all day. But even as night fell, I never saw Lumi. During the second visit, they came up with another excuse, saying Lumi had gone on a trip out of town and wouldn't return until next month. The third time, the fourth time, each visit brought a different reason. I gradually realized that Andre never intended for me to see Lumi. He wanted to sever all ties between me and my daughter. I sought Jenny's help, hoping to resolve this through legal means. But Jenny told me that his justifications were all well-founded, making it difficult to pursue legally. "Unless you can prove they did it on purpose, it's tough to do anything about it," Jenny said helplessly. "Then what am I supposed to do?" I asked desperately. "I haven't seen Lumi in 3 months. Just wait for an opportunity," Jenny patted my shoulder. "Or you could try to arrange a private meeting with her. See her privately?" That gave me an idea. I began investigating Lumi's daily schedule. I discovered that every Tuesday and Thursday afternoon, Lumi attended classes at a nearby kindergarten. That afternoon, I waited by the kindergarten gate. Finally, I spotted that long-missed little figure. Lumi, dressed in a pretty little dress and holding the nanny's hand, was about to enter the kindergarten. "Lumi!" I couldn't help but call out. Hearing my voice, Lumi immediately turned her head. The moment she saw me, her face lit up with immense surprise. "Mom!" Lumi broke free from the nanny's grasp and ran toward me. "Lumi!" I crouched down, arms wide open. My daughter threw herself into my embrace, clinging tightly. "Mom! Lumi missed you so much." She cried in my arms. "Why didn't Mom come see Lumi?" Hearing this, my heart broke. "Mommy misses Lumi too. Mommy wants to come see you every single day." I held her close, tears streaming down my face. "But Daddy won't let Mommy come." "Why?" Lumi couldn't understand. "Because." I didn't know how to explain. Just then, the nanny snapped out of it and rushed forward. "Miss Lumi, come here," she said urgently. "Andre said you can't see this person." "I'm her mother," I exclaimed angrily. But Andre said, "You're not Lumi's mother anymore." The nanny replied coldly, "Lumi has a new mother now." "New mother?" I froze. "Yes, Kathy is Lumi's mother now." As she spoke, the nanny reached out to pull Lumi away. "I don't want it." Lumi clung tightly to me. "I only want this mommy. I don't want Aunt Kathy to be my mommy." "Lumi, be good and go back with Auntie," the nanny said patiently. "Kathy is waiting for you at home." "I don't want Mrs. Sue." Lumi cried even harder, "I want my mom." Hearing my daughter's heart-wrenching sobs, I desperately wanted to take her away from here immediately. But I knew I couldn't do that. The lesson from last time was still fresh in my mind. I couldn't make the same mistake again. "Lumi, Mommy has to go now." Holding back tears, I said, "But Mommy promises you, I'll always come back." "Really?" Lumi asked through sobs. "Really?" I kissed her forehead. "Lumi, remember this, no matter what, Mommy will always love you." With a heavy heart, I let go of my daughter and watched helplessly as the nanny pulled her away. As Lumi was led off, she turned back to me, her eyes brimming with reluctance. "Mommy! Mommy!" Her voice grew fainter and fainter. I stood rooted to the spot, tears streaming down my face. "My daughter, my precious child, when will I ever truly have you?" Since then, I've worked even harder. I told myself that if I worked hard enough, one day I'd get Lumi back. I worked over 10 hours every day, even on weekends. I channeled all my pain into motivation for work. Perseverance pays off. 6 months later, I finally got promoted. Though the salary wasn't particularly high, at least I had a stable position. I started saving money to buy a house. I wanted to prove to everyone that I could provide Lumi with a stable home. Just when I thought life finally held some hope, I received unexpected news. Andre and Kathy had gotten married. And Lumi was calling Kathy Mom. This news was undoubtedly a devastating blow to me. My daughter, my own flesh and blood, actually called another woman Mom. That night, I cried myself to sleep alone in our rented apartment. Imagining Lumi sweetly calling Kathy Mom tore my heart apart. Perhaps I really should give up. Perhaps Lumi would truly be happier with them. But I can't bear to part with her. Lumi is a piece of my flesh and blood, a part of my very being. To abandon her would be like abandoning my own life. I wiped away my tears and kept pushing forward. I was determined to prove that I was Lumi's real mother. A year later, I finally saved enough for a down payment and bought a small apartment. Though it was modest, just 2 bedrooms and a living room, it was at least a home for Lumi and me. I carefully decorated Lumi's room, buying her favorite pink furniture and covering the walls with her beloved princess stickers. I believe that one day, she will return to this home. I have once again petitioned the court to reopen the custody case. This time, I had a home, a stable job, and sufficient financial resources. Yet the court still denied my petition. The reason given was that Lumi had already adapted to her current living environment, and abruptly changing it would be detrimental to the child. I refused to accept this and continued to appeal. But every time, it was rejected. I began to suspect whether Andre's family was pulling strings behind the scenes. With their wealth and influence, bribing people wouldn't be difficult. Just when I was at my wit's end, something unexpected happened. It was a weekend afternoon, and I was tidying up Lumi's room at home. Suddenly, an unfamiliar call came through. "Hello, is this Ms. Daisy?" "Yes, it is." "Who is this?" "I'm a doctor from Renai Hospital. Your daughter Lumi is in our emergency room." My heart instantly leapt into my throat. What? What happened to Lumi? "The child fell down the stairs and suffered a head injury. She's currently undergoing emergency treatment," the doctor said gravely. "Please come to the hospital immediately." I practically ran out the door like a madman. All the way there, my heart was pounding and my mind went blank. How could Lumi have fallen? Was she seriously hurt? Was her life in danger? Terrifying thoughts swirled through my head. When I arrived at the hospital, I rushed straight to the emergency room. Andre and Kathy were already there. Kathy sat in the chair crying, while Andre comforted her nearby. "How is Lumi?" I asked urgently. Andre looked at me, his expression darkening. "What are you doing here?" "I'm Lumi's mother," I said angrily. "I have the right to know how she is." "You're not." Kathy suddenly stood up, pointing at me. "I'm Lumi's mother. You woman, you think you can come here and steal my daughter?" "Steal?" I sneered. She's always been my daughter. Enough. Andre snapped impatiently. This isn't the time for arguing. Just then, the doctor emerged from the operating room. How is the child? Andre asked urgently. He's doing okay. He has a mild concussion, but it's not life-threatening, the doctor said. However, he'll need to stay in the hospital for observation for a few days. Hearing this, I breathed a sigh of relief. But then I grew anxious again. Doctor, when will she wake up? The doctor looked at me, then at Andre. And who is this? She's the child's birth mother, Andre managed to say. Oh, that's fine, the doctor nodded. The child should wake up soon. Don't worry too much. Lumi was wheeled into the hospital room. She lay still on the bed, her little face frighteningly pale. My heart ached terribly, and tears streamed down my face. My baby, Mommy's here, I whispered, gently stroking her small hand. Mommy has always been here. Kathy sneered from the side, stop pretending. Lumi doesn't remember you at all. What do you mean? I froze. Lumi completely sees me as her mom now, Kathy said smugly. She only recognizes me, not you. Impossible. I couldn't believe it. Just wait until she wakes up, and you'll see. Kathy said coldly. My heart sank to the bottom. Could Lumi really have forgotten me? Did I truly hold no place in her heart at all? Just then, Lumi stirred. She slowly opened her eyes, looking around in confusion. Lumi! I called out to her excitedly. Lumi turned to look at me, her eyes devoid of any emotion. It was as if she were looking at a stranger. Who are you? Lumi asked. My heart shattered instantly. My daughter, my own flesh and blood, didn't recognize me. Lumi, it's Mommy. I said, my voice trembling. Lumi blinked, then pointed at Kathy, she's my mommy. Kathy walked over triumphantly, gently stroking Lumi's head, sweetie, Mommy's right here. Mom. Lumi called sweetly, my head hurts so much. It's okay, the doctor said it'll get better soon, Kathy comforted her softly. I stood by like an outsider, watching this tender scene. In that moment, I felt like the most superfluous person in the world. Lumi, you really don't remember me? I asked, unwilling to accept it. I'm Daisy. I bought you so many toys and made you rainbow cakes. Lumi looked at me with confusion and shook her head. I don't know you. Tears instantly welled up in my eyes. 2 years. 2 whole years. My daughter has completely forgotten me. Daisy, you see? Andre said coldly. Lumi has a new life now. Stop bothering her. But she's my daughter. I screamed hysterically. She only recognizes Kathy now. Andre said coldly, you might as well give up on that. I looked at Lumi lying in bed with utter despair. She had completely changed. The little angel who used to sweetly call me Mommy now looked at me like a stranger. I knew I had lost her forever. After leaving the hospital, I returned home like a walking corpse. Sitting in Lumi's room, I stared at the meticulously prepared toys and furniture, my heart as cold as stone. I had worked tirelessly for 2 whole years for this day. Buying a house, decorating the rooms, preparing everything Lumi needed. But now, it all feels like a joke. Lumi doesn't remember me. She has a new mom, a new life. And I've become a stranger in her world. That night, I drank a lot. I recall Lumi as a child, remember the first time she called me Mom, remember staying up all night caring for her when she was sick. Now, all of this is just a memory. My daughter will never come back to me. Just when I thought that was the end, fate gave me another chance. A month later, I unexpectedly ran into Lumi at the mall. She was with Kathy, trying on clothes. I watched her from afar, my feelings mixed. She had grown much taller and even prettier. Dressed in an exquisite little dress, she looked like a real little princess. I had intended to slip away quietly, not wanting to disturb them. But just then, an accident happened. Lumi fell in the fitting room and hit her head on the corner of the wall. Kathy screamed in fright, "Lumi! Lumi!" I didn't have time to think. I rushed over. Lumi was lying on the ground, a gash on her forehead bleeding profusely. Kathy stood beside her, helpless and crying. "Call an ambulance!" I shouted while trying to stop the bleeding. I pressed a towel against the wound to prevent excessive blood loss. "Lumi, it's okay, hang in there," I whispered softly to comfort her. Lumi looked at me dazed, a flicker of confusion in her eyes. Who are you?" she asked weakly. I started to say Mom, but the words caught in my throat. She didn't recognize me anymore. "I'm a kind-hearted auntie." Holding back tears, I said, "You're hurt, and Auntie is helping stop the bleeding." Lumi nodded, her eyes showing no fear but instead an inexplicable trust. Soon, the ambulance arrived. I accompanied them to the hospital. After examining the wound, the doctor said it wasn't deep and could be stitched up with a few stitches. But Kathy turned pale with fright and kept crying. "It's all my fault. I didn't watch Lumi closely enough," she said, blaming herself. Lumi, however, comforted her, "Don't cry, Mommy. Lumi doesn't hurt." Watching this scene, I felt a mix of emotions. Regardless, Kathy truly loved Lumi, and Lumi depended on her deeply. Perhaps this was the best outcome. Just as I was about to slip away quietly, Lumi called out to me. "Auntie," she said weakly, "thank you." I turned to look at her, forcing a smile. "You're welcome, sweetie. Just be careful." "Auntie, why are your eyes all red?" Lumi asked innocently. "Because Auntie was really worried about you just now." I fought back the tears. Lumi nodded, then said something that nearly broke me. "Auntie, you remind me of someone." "Who?" My heart raced. "The mother in my dreams," Lumi said earnestly. "I often dream of another mother, she's just as gentle as you." Tears welled up in my eyes instantly. It turned out Lumi hadn't completely forgotten me. Deep within her subconscious, memories of me still lingered. "Lumi! What nonsense are you talking?" Kathy exclaimed nervously. "I'm your only mother." "I know." Lumi nodded obediently. "But I always dream about another mom. She makes me rainbow cakes and tells me stories." I couldn't hold it in any longer. I turned and ran. I couldn't let Lumi see me cry. I couldn't let Kathy know who I was either. I could only love my daughter from afar and silently watch over her. Since then, I've often kept a distant eye on Lumi. I knew which kindergarten she attended, her daily schedule, and what new skills she'd recently learned. But I never dared to approach her, only watching from afar. I didn't want to disrupt her life or cause her any trouble. She's happy now, with a father who cherishes her and a mother who cares for her attentively. Though my heart aches, I know this is best for her. 5 years have passed. Lumi is now 8 years old and in 2nd grade. She's grown into a beautiful little girl with excellent grades, beloved by everyone she meets. I've kept track of her progress through various channels, watching her grow day by day, a mix of relief and heartache. It brings me comfort to see her growing up healthy and happy. What breaks my heart is that I haven't been able to be there for her as she grows. Just when I thought I'd spend my life quietly watching over her, fate took another turn. That day, I received a phone call. "Is this Daisy?" "This is Lumi's homeroom teacher." "What's wrong with Lumi?" I asked anxiously. "Well, Lumi wrote an essay at school titled My Mother," the teacher said, sounding a bit strange. "But what she wrote was unusual." "What do you mean?" "She wrote about 2 mothers. One is her current mother, Kathy, and the other is the mother from her dreams." The teacher said, she wrote that the mother in her dreams would make her rainbow cakes and stay up all night caring for her when she was sick. My heart gave a sharp jolt. What else did she write? She said she really wanted to meet her mother from her dreams, to ask why she had left her. The teacher continued, "Daisy, I think this child might have psychological issues." I suggest you take her to see a psychologist. I remained silent for a long time. It turned out Lumi had always remembered me. Deep down, I never truly vanished from her subconscious. Teacher, may I see that essay? I pleaded. Well, that might not be appropriate, the teacher hesitated. You're not her legal guardian. I'm her biological mother, I confessed. The teacher paused for a moment, then said, how about this? Come to the school tomorrow afternoon after classes. We'll talk it over in detail. The next afternoon, I arrived at the school with a heavy heart. The teacher was a middle-aged woman in her 40s who looked very kind. Daisy, have a seat, she said, gesturing for me to sit down. Then she took out a composition book. This is the essay Lumi wrote. I took the composition book and saw Lumi's childish handwriting. I have 2 moms. One is my current mom. She's very pretty and treats me very well. She buys me lots of pretty clothes and toys. Another is the mother from my dreams. She bakes me rainbow cakes, stays by my side when I'm sick, and tells me all sorts of fascinating stories. I love my present mother dearly, but I also miss the mother from my dreams. I don't know where she is or why she hasn't come to see me. If I could, I'd like to meet the mother in my dreams and ask her if she doesn't want me anymore. After reading this essay, my tears poured out like a burst dam. My daughter, she never forgot me. Even though she was told I wasn't her mother, even though her memories were deliberately erased, deep within her heart, she still held on to her longing for me. Teacher, what do you think I should do? I asked, my voice choked with emotion. The teacher looked at me sympathetically and said, as a mother, I understand your pain. But as a teacher, I'm more concerned about the child's mental well-being. What do you mean? I think Lumi should know the truth. The teacher said earnestly, she's been searching for the mother in her dreams all this time, and this confusion isn't good for her development. But her current family. I understand the situation. The teacher interrupted me, but the child has a right to know. She should learn about her origins and meet her birth mother. I hesitated for a long time. On one hand, I yearned to reunite with my daughter, on the other, I feared it might disrupt her current happy life. I need time to think it over. I finally said. I understand, the teacher nodded. But please make your decision as soon as possible. Lumi's confusion is growing worse. After leaving the school, I wandered aimlessly down the street. Should I go see Lumi? Should I tell her the truth? Would doing so be good or bad for her? Just as I was wrestling with these thoughts, I spotted a familiar little figure. It was Lumi. She sat alone on the park swing, looking very lonely. I hesitated for a moment, then walked over. Little one, why are you here all by yourself? I asked softly. Lumi looked up at me, a flicker of delight in her eyes. It's that lady. You remember me? I asked in surprise. Of course I remember. Lumi said happily, you're the kind aunt who saved me at the mall. My heart warmed as I sat down on the swing next to her. Why are you here all alone? Mom and Dad are arguing again, Lumi said, lowering her head. I didn't want to hear them fight, so I came out. A fight? I felt a pang of worry. About what? About me, Lumi whispered softly. Dad says I've been having strange dreams lately and wants to take me to see a doctor. But Mom disagrees, she says I'm not sick. My heart tightened. It seemed Andre and Kathy had also noticed Lumi's unusual behavior. Lumi, do you dream often? I asked cautiously. Lumi nodded. I always dream about another mom. She looks a bit like Auntie. My heart raced. That mom, was she nice to you? Great. Lumi's eyes lit up. She'll make me rainbow cakes, play games with me, and take care of me when I'm sick. So do you want to meet her? Yes. Lumi nodded vigorously. I really want to know where she is and why she hasn't come to see me. Seeing the longing in my daughter's eyes, I finally made up my mind. Lumi, I took a deep breath, If I told you that the mother from your dream is right beside you, would you believe me? Lumi froze, her eyes wide as she stared at me. Auntie, you mean? I am the mother from your dreams. I whispered softly, I am your birth mother, Daisy. Lumi's eyes instantly welled up. She stared intently at me, her voice trembling. Is it true? Really? I nodded, tears streaming down my face. Lumi, Mom has always been searching for you, always loved you. Mom. Lumi threw herself into my arms, sobbing uncontrollably. Mom. I finally found you. I held my daughter tightly, and all the longing and pain of the past 8 years dissolved into tears at that moment. Mother and daughter, we were finally reunited. Though many questions remained unanswered, though the road ahead was still filled with uncertainty, at least my daughter knew the truth, she knew I had always loved her. That was enough.